Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gander Gardening with Dawn. Today is June the 16th, and although it's quite overcast now, this morning it was lovely and warm and sunny, and I did some recording in my garden, and it focuses mainly on how I use containers to try to make my garden more colorful and more workable. So if that is something that is interesting to you, it would be great if you stayed around to watch. And it's full sun back here now with the sun shining. And thank goodness it is, because we haven't had nearly enough sun yet this year. And the foxgloves, some of them here are wilting a bit because I don't think they've developed much of a tolerance for sun because they haven't seen much of it. But I wanted to share with you that in many of my flower beds, like right here where there's a very healthy and large patch of Biocovo geraniums. These are related to the big root geraniums. That's one of the parents. These are not in bloom yet, but they will be in bloom pretty soon with very light blush, almost white flowers. And it's a bit of a monoculture here. Behind there, I have quite a nice little patch of foxgloves, and they'll be fine. But what I tend to do is I tuck in containers with annuals. I have 3 containers here that have a dark purpley blue lobelia and a begonia. These begonias were small when I bought them. These are some that I bought this year. And it's taking them a while before they get going because it's been so cold. But I have 3 of these pots repeated here. And, oh, excuse my shadow. This one, the edge of the pot may be visible for a while, but the other 2, in another week or so, you would never know that there were pots there. They'll just look like the plants are growing out from the ground. And that's very, very effective and breaks up an area that might be a little bit too large with just one type of plant. And I've also done the exact same thing here. This is an area under a very large tree. There's under there's a large patch of yellow loosestrife that is edged by big root geranium, and this time it really is macrorrhizum, and it can be a little bit too much of the same thing. So here's another pot that I've tucked down here, and this one has 3 cosmos, and these are Apricotta. And I have some of these sort of trellis pieces to keep the cosmos straight once they start getting taller, and also to keep the yellow loosestrife from shading it out too much. And a little bit later, if you step back now, you can't tell that it's there. And a little bit later, when the Apricotta bloom, it will be after the yellow loosestrife. The yellow loosestrife will be starting to fade by then. And instead of having this area here without flowers, there will be a nice area of cosmos right in the middle of this green, and it'll look great. So I find if you put the pots out early in the spring, relatively early, before things grow up too much, the plants will grow up around them and they'll blend in seamlessly. It's a great trick for adding some variety to your beds. And here's another area. This is a fairly significant patch of lamium. This particular cultivar is Checkers. And so in the center of that, I have a pot that has feverfew and schizanthus. And yeah, I'm really happy about this because these will really stand out. And the flowers of the schizanthus are generally pinks and purples, which go really well with the blooms on the lamium. For the middle of June, there's an unnatural amount of tulips that are still blooming. This is crazy. Yeah, it's been a long, cold spring, but in this glorious sunshine today, I'm not mad about it. Lots and lots of color. Look at that. And here's another situation where I have a pot. This time there's a petunia in it, and the pot is black in this case and will just blend in with the garden. And as the summer comes on, I'll be able to give this particular petunia space and fertilizer because it's in its own pot, and it will definitely brighten up this area. There's just the one bloom on it yet, and this one is red velour, tidal wave petunia, grown from seed. I have a bunch of these, and I've tucked a lot of them into pots around the garden. Another use that I find for plants in containers is to place them close together to make a barrier or an edge for a flower bed. And that's what's happening here. And most of these are annuals. Yep, I'm just looking. The begonias are some that I purchased this year. The geraniums are some that I saved cuttings from last year. And the lobelia, the white one, I bought this year. But I think everything else I started from seed. There's some ageratum, there's some nasturtiums, some other types of lobelia, petunia, again, the same type, some cosmos, and there's also some snapdragons. These are Chantilly velvet, and they'll be red. So in this area, it's going to be kind of reds and pinks for the most part this year, with a little hint of white. And if you notice these little purple flowers, these are Labrador violets, which are native here, and they just pop up anywhere where there's a little bit of mulch or free soil. They like growing in mulch, actually. So when they do pop up, unless they're really in the way of something, I generally leave them because they're great for the pollinators in this area because they're a very pretty little native plant. So, yeah, but anyway, that's another way that containers can be very useful. You can make a short wall of them, and they work really well. In the front of this tall black pot are two more of those red velour petunias, and planted amongst there are some of the creeping jenny, the very yellow one. I think it's called Goldilocks. And also behind there, there are three lime green Nicotiana in the back. They're taking a while to get going, but the petunias are doing great. They're all budded up with, my goodness, dozens of buds, and they soon will be in full flower. I'm super, super happy with this cute little corner where there's the apricot, Solenia apricot begonia, and some ageratum and some more creeping jenny. And just look at this glorious calla lily. That's called Sunrise, I believe is what it was called. Look how it brings out the colors. Isn't that glorious? And it's quite a tropical look for our cold spring. And I have similar one here, and this one has a darker begonia to pick up the darker shades, but this one is actually my favorite, the apricot and peachy and orangey tones. Isn't that lovely? It's just starting to get going, so once it fills in, I hope it looks great. One of the most useful things that I do with containers is I make them into my cutting garden. This area on the side of our house wasn't possible for me to dig down into the soil here, but I put some crushed stone and underneath to make it nice and even, and then I added a lot of pots. And I don't have them all potted up yet, but this is where I put my dahlias and my cosmos. And here is a Texas bluebonnet that I've never grown before, so I'm very excited and hoping that it might actually bloom. And I do have one of the same petunias here, which this is just one petunia in this pot, looking fantastic. I have some bunny tail grass. I have some annual bee balm, and there's still a couple of pots that are just waiting. One of them is going to have a small dahlia, and I'm not sure about the other one yet. But and when I do plant the larger dahlias, I put these tomato cages in at the same time so that it gives them support. And this is kind of a utilitarian area in our garden, and right now it's in mostly shade. It gets full sun for the afternoon, full hot sun for the afternoon. So the dahlias and the cosmos and the petunia, they'll all like that. Of course, hanging baskets are always a great use of containers, and they help to draw the eye upward. There's one, and I like to try to keep them similar here in the back garden. So I have 3 that are potted with the same plants. We have some begonias that I saved the tubers from, some Silver Falls dichondra, and some lobelia sky blue. And I started those last 2 from seeds. So these hanging baskets cost me very little. And here's another one. And here's the third, and this one's a little behind. Some of the begonias took a lot longer to get going. Just look how fat this one ranunculus bulb is. Let me move back so it will focus a bit better. Oh my goodness. These are the unnamed Italian ranunculus that I bought. They're supposed to be shades of cream and pink. We'll soon see. And I've counted, there were 10 corms, and I planted them among 3 pots. And I counted, look right here, we have 3 really close together that are opening. I think there's close to 20 buds among these 10, so I'm fairly happy with that. I'll keep you posted if they actually turn out to be the cream and pink shades. Now that the tulips are blown wide open with the bright sun and warmth, they look a lot more like poppies than they look like tulips. And I would think tomorrow the petals will all be gone and I'll cut them back shortly after. And the very same thing can be said for this area of orange tulips. They definitely have more of a poppy look about them right now. But color is color. So those are some of the ways that I use containers to help in my garden every year. Around midsummer, I'll take another recording and show you how these containers look when they're in full bloom. So goodbye for now from this cute little bunny and me, and thank you so very, very much for watching.